So in the last video, after we got the levers on and the intake on and the trike essentially finished up, I mentioned that it wasn't running the greatest. So one thing I was going to do, and I mentioned in the video, this is not a real Mikuni carburetor that I'm aware of, but it doesn't seem like it. Because the way it's tuned is different. There's only, I guess, the idle air adjust and another screw under here, whatever that is. Usually the Mikuni carburetors have 3 or 4 different adjustments, so you can adjust everything. This carburetor, the way it is, the main jet and the idle jet would need to be replaced if you want to make changes. So in the last video I mentioned main jet, but the issue is from 0 to the first quarter throttle, this thing starts to bog out a lot. And the reason is because there's not enough fuel getting through the idle jet. So I drilled this out once, but I only went up like a very small amount, like a couple, like 1 thou kind of thing, essentially. Probably not a thou, so I got fractional millimeter drill bits. So, but either way, I'm going to drain the bowl. I'm then going to take out the idle jet. We're going to check and see what size it is now, and we're probably going to go up a size or 2, stick it back in, start her up, and see how she runs. So the first thing I want to do is drain the bowl. There's a screw here you can loosen off, and the bowl, whatever's in the bowl, will drain off. So the first thing I want to do is turn off the gas. And now I'll go ahead and get something I can get a screwdriver on this with. I need something shorter. So I have to use something like this so I can get at it. I'll just put that on this 1/4-inch ratchet and we'll pull that off. That's the bowl drained. Plate it up and drop the bowl. So this should be mostly lined up, I hope. So here we look at the underside of the carburetor. We see the needle valve here responsible for keeping fuel out or letting fuel in. We see our main jet here. And finally we have our idle jet right here. So this is the one I drilled out because before the bike would barely even run. I'd had to keep it full choke. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the idle jet. We'll check the size. Then I'll get my drill press mounted up on the bench and we'll bust out the thou bits and some pin vices and see if we can't ream this out a couple sizes. You ought to make sure you're very careful when you're removing jets out of a carburetor. They're made of brass. They are very soft. You can easily damage them when you're removing them. So just make sure you don't force anything when you're doing this. Last thing I want to do now is screw this up because then I'm either ordering new idle jets or in this case I just go buy a different carburetor, an actual Mikuni for it. So, and there we go. So there's our idle jet. Usually on idle jets they'll be marked. So this one is marked with a 15. So that's 15 thou, I believe. You're never going to see that on this camera. Maybe you will. Let's see. Right there, you can see where it's embossed. That says, it's like a little symbol, and then it says 15. There you go. Yeah, there it is, right there. 15. So I bored this out. I think 17.5 is what I took it out to. I'm going to take it up to 20 and see how it goes. So I've zoomed this in with hopes that you'll be able to see this. This is really tiny. So once again, here is the idle jet. The original was 15 thou. I just tried putting a 0.45 millimeter, so that would be 18 thou down into it and it wouldn't fit, so that tells me that I used the 0.4. The 0.4 would have been 16 thou. So I'm going to go up 2 thou. You can see this tiny little drill bit. It's not going to really focus because I'm zoomed in a bit already. If I try to put it down through, it brings up. If I go up through the bottom, it only goes in so far and it hits the point where it brings up. So I'm going to go ahead and get this mounted in a pin vise, the pin vise mounted in my drill press, and we're going to go ahead and drill this out a little bit more and try that. And what I'll essentially do is I'll just keep doing this until I hit the right size where it starts to auto properly. I'm hoping I can get there within, the first try would be great, but if not the first, second one hopefully can get me there. So let's go ahead and set up the drill press. So here we can see we've got our drill bit mounted up in the pin vise. So I'll get the pin vise put up in the chuck of the drill press. These things are so tiny you can just barely see the drill bit in it. So that's 18 thou on the drill press. I'm going to go ahead and get it up into the start of the and we'll get her started up and see if we just can't get this reamed out a tiny bit. Okay. So that's 18 thou. One thing to keep in mind when you're doing this, I know some main jets are big enough you can get a little bit of solder in there if you need to make the hole smaller because you messed up. Always take as little off as possible when you're dealing with this stuff because, well, essentially it's easy to take stuff off but you can't put it back on. So, you know, take your time, be deliberate with what you're doing, and you'll get there. So I'm going to get this back into the carburetor and we'll see how it performs. One other thing that's usually good when you're doing this stuff, you don't want any, if there's any little metal bits of brass left anywhere inside, you really don't want them moving through your carburetor. It'll plug stuff up and it could cause you big headaches. So what I like to do is take a bit of brake cleaner, blast it through. That way you make sure if there's anything in there, you're blasting it out. And then hit it with a bit of compressed air. Okay, so now I'm pretty sure it's not going to be anything in there. Can we see down through? Yep, you can see the orange on the areas there behind it, through the hole. So let's give it a go. So it seems like there's still a little bit of bog there. So I'm going to take the jet out and go up one more size. I think that one more size is going to do it. So I'll do all that off camera and we'll be right back. So before I decided to drill again, I just went ahead and adjusted the carb a bit more. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just give her another kick and we'll see how she runs. We'll give her a couple revs. The next size bit I have will take me from 18th out to 20, so I don't want to go, not like it's a big jump or whatever, but I figure we'll try tweaking the carb settings a bit. We'll see how it goes. So here we go. So there's still a little bit of a delay there. If I blip the throttle really fast, you'll hear it suck and kind of stop. But if I just go less than fast, seems like it's all right. So I'm going to leave it at that for the time being. And maybe I'll look into buying a new carb or something, an actual decent carb for it at some point in the future. So I guess at this point I'm ready to start putting some stickers on the bike. So I bought a sticker kit. It's over right there on the bench. It's ATC written on it. So I'm going to get a bit of alcohol on some paper towel, clean up the surfaces I'm going to be putting stickers on, and we'll go ahead and get all our stickers on the fenders and the frame and whatnot. A couple more wipes and it'll all flash off, and we'll go ahead and get our sticker applied. So I've gone ahead and got all the stickers on. A couple stickers, like the one that usually goes in the recoil. I didn't put that on the bike because it wouldn't stick to the motor. But I did stick this one here on. It's the warning regarding the starting the bike and making sure it's in neutral and it's not focusing. What the fuck right now? Anyway, so there's stickers where they belong. Warning stickers on the tank. The rear plastic sticker, a couple others on the frame. So I'm calling that one done. So you guys stay tuned to the channel, because this week I'm going to start shooting some footage of getting the 185S motor running. And once we get that running well, we're going to go ahead and get the framework or the frame painted and start putting pieces back on.